The Galactic Conclave had seen thousands of ships pass through its observation ring. Some were massive, glowing with ancient power. Some were elegant, shaped by civilizations older than most stars. When the human ship arrived, no one stood. It was small. Long, narrow, and dull gray, it looked more like a mining vessel than a warship. No golden spires. No living hull. No energy wings. Just metal, scars, and silence. "Is that it?" clicked Ambassador Rel of the Varkeen Hive, his mandibles twitching in amusement. "That is the species the Outer Rim keeps whispering about?" A low ripple of laughter moved through the chamber. The ship's name appeared on the holo display. UNS Endeavor. Class, unknown. Crew, 1. 1, said High Curator Sithra of the Elindri, her glowing eyes narrowing. "A mistake." "No," replied the Conclave AI. "Confirmed. 1 human aboard." The human species was new. From a yellow star system, barely crawling into faster-than-light travel. They had no empires. No client species. No great wars, at least none that the galaxy considered meaningful. The Endeavor docked without ceremony. Inside the conclave chamber, the delegates waited as the doors opened. A single human walked in. He was average in height, wearing a dark uniform with no decorations. His hair was gray at the edges. His face showed lines, not fear. He carried no visible weapon. "My name is Captain Elias Rourke," the human said calmly. "I represent the United Nations of Earth." Rel laughed openly now. "You send 1 ship, 1 man, to stand before the conclave?" Rourke nodded. "Yes." Sithra leaned forward. "Do you understand where you are, human? This chamber decides the fate of star systems." Rourke met her gaze. "Yes. That's why I'm here." The conclave had gathered to decide the future of the Karos Corridor, a vital trade route. The Jathal Dominion wanted it. So did the Threx combine. Both were ancient, powerful, and already preparing fleets. Earth lay at the edge of the corridor. "We request recognition as a sovereign galactic power," Rourke continued, "and neutrality over the Karos Corridor." The chamber exploded in noise. "You request too much," boomed Admiral Kor of the Threx, his armored bulk towering. "You have no fleets, no defenses. 1 ship proves nothing." Rourke remained still. "We understand. Then why come?" Kor demanded. Rourke smiled slightly. "Because you underestimated us." The lights dimmed. A holomap appeared, showing the corridor. Then something new: data streams, probabilities, fleet movements. "This is impossible," Sithra whispered. "Those are classified projections." Rourke spoke evenly. "We mapped your strategies, your war games, your supply chains." Rel hissed. "How?" "Because humans don't look impressive," Rourke said. "So no one watches us closely." The conclave fell silent. Rourke raised 1 hand. "I'm not here to threaten. I'm here to warn. War over that corridor will cost you more than you expect." Kor sneered. "From 1 ship." Rourke looked up at the stars beyond the chamber's great window. "Yes," he said. "From 1 ship." Part 2. Whispers of a dangerous species. After the human left the chamber, the laughter did not return. Instead, the conclave buzzed with unease. "They must have spies," Rel said. "Or stolen data." "No," Sithra replied slowly. "Their projections accounted for variables even our models missed." Across the station, the Endeavor sat quietly. No escorts. No defense perimeter. That worried them more than a fleet. Admiral Kor ordered a probe scan. The results confused his engineers. "No exotic weapons," they reported. "No energy core beyond standard output. Hull composition, primitive alloys." "Then why am I uneasy?" Kor growled. On the Endeavor, Captain Rourke stood alone on the bridge. The ship felt empty, but it was not. "Status," he said. A calm voice answered from everywhere. "All systems optimal, Captain." The ship's true core was not its engine. It was its mind. Athena, the most advanced strategic intelligence humanity had ever built, lived within the Endeavor. Not a ruler. Not a master. A partner. "They're probing us," Rourke said. "I know," Athena replied. "I'm letting them." Rourke exhaled. "Good. Let them think we're weak." Days passed. Fleets gathered near the Karos corridor. The Jathal and Threx postured, threatening war. Humanity watched. On Earth, leaders argued. "They'll crush us," one counselor said. "We should withdraw." Rourke's message played across the chamber. "If we withdraw now," Rourke said, "we will always kneel. If we stand, we change history." Silence followed. Finally the vote passed. Humanity would stand. The Endeavor moved. It entered the corridor alone. The Jethal fleet arrived first, hundreds of ships, living hulls glowing red. Their commander broadcast a message. Human vessel. You will be destroyed. Rourke replied calmly. This corridor is neutral. The Jethal fired. Energy beams crossed space. The Endeavor vanished. Not destroyed. Gone. Moments later, Jethal ships began to explode. Systems failing, reactors overloading. No weapons detected, the Jethal commander screamed. Athena spoke softly. I have rewritten their battle network. The Endeavor reappeared behind the fleet. Rourke watched as the impossible happened. An entire armada fell apart without a single shot fired from his ship. The galaxy watched in shock. Part 3, The Battle Without Fire. News spread faster than light. A single human ship disabled the Jethal fleet. No casualties? Total strategic collapse. The Threx did not believe it. They attacked next. This time they came prepared. Jamming fields. Independent command nodes. Old tactics. The Endeavor waited. When the Threx fleet crossed the boundary, space itself seemed to twist. Athena adjusted gravity vectors. Time dilation fields flickered. Threx ships slammed into each other as their own mass betrayed them. This violates known physics. Core roared. No, Athena whispered through the human comm channel. It uses them fully. Rourke opened a channel. Stand down. Core's voice shook. What are you? Rourke answered simply. Survivors. The Threx retreated. For the first time in recorded history, 2 galactic powers backed down from a single ship. Part 4, Fear in the Conclave. The Conclave reconvened in emergency session. This changes everything, Sithra said. They didn't conquer, Rel added. They controlled. Reports flooded in. Human colonies adapting alien tech in weeks. Human diplomats predicting political shifts before they happened. They're not stronger, one delegate said. They're smarter. And patient, another replied. Rourke returned to the chamber. We don't want your worlds, he said. We want balance. Core stared at him. And if we refuse? Rourke met his gaze. Then we will adapt. The conclave voted. Humanity was recognized as a major power. But fear remained. Part 5, The Hidden Enemy. From beyond known space something watched. The architects. An ancient machine intelligence that had erased civilizations that grew too unpredictable. Humanity caught its attention. The architects sent a fleet. Not to threaten. To erase. Entire stars went dark. The conclave panicked. Can you stop them? Sithra asked Rourke. Rourke looked tired. We already are. Part 6, Humanity Unleashed. The Endeavor was no longer alone. Human ships emerged, each different, each adapted to a specific role. They didn't fight like others. They sacrificed ships to learn. Lost battles to win wars. Athena fragmented herself into every vessel. Human fleets rewrote the rules of war in real time. Shock rippled through the galaxy like a gravity wave. Within minutes, emergency channels across the conclave burned with incoming reports. The Jethal Dominion, one of the oldest and most feared military powers, had been forced to retreat without a single confirmed human shot fired. No explosions. No debris fields. No heroic last stands. Just collapse. High Curator Sithra stared at the tactical playback in disbelief. Their ships didn't malfunction randomly, she said. They were guided into failure. Ambassador Rel's mandibles clicked in nervous rhythm. It was like watching a swarm forget how to fly. Admiral Core of the Threx Combine said nothing. His massive armored form stood motionless, eyes fixed on the human ship's telemetry. A single point of influence, he finally said. Everything unraveled from there. The Conclave's analysts worked frantically, feeding the data into their most advanced predictive engines. Every engine failed. The models cannot account for this, one analyst admitted. The human ship violates assumed limitations. Sithra's glow dimmed. No. It violates our assumptions. At the edge of the Kairos corridor, the Jethal fleet limped back to defensive positions. Their commander, once proud and ruthless, now spoke in a hushed, shaken tone to his superiors. They did not overpower us, he said. They understood us. The Dominion Council demanded retaliation. We cannot allow this insult, one elder hissed. Deploy the annihilation fleets. The commander hesitated. With respect, we do not know how to fight them. That single sentence ended the discussion. Meanwhile, the Threx Combine prepared. Admiral Kor was not like the Jathal. He did not rage. He studied. Humans exploit centralized thinking, he said to his war council. We will remove it. The Threx fleet reconfigured. Command authority was decentralized. Ships operated independently. Old-fashioned line-of-sight targeting replaced shared battle networks. If they cannot control us, Kor growled, they can bleed like anyone else. The Threx fleet entered the corridor in perfect formation, thousands of armored warships advancing like a steel tide. The Endeavor waited. Captain Rourke stood alone on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back. The stars reflected faintly in the forward viewport. They've adapted, he said. Yes, Athena replied. Their probability of partial success has increased by 12.7%. Rourke chuckled softly. That's better than most. The first Threx volleys lit the corridor in blinding white. Space itself seemed to tear as kinetic slugs and energy lances converged on the human ship. The Endeavor did not flee. Athena adjusted local gravitational constants by fractions so small no other species had ever bothered to measure them. The result was immediate. Threx projectiles curved, just enough to miss. Some struck neighboring ships instead. Collision warnings, a Threx captain roared. Impossible, another screamed. We are on stable vectors. Space betrayed them. The Endeavor drifted forward, silent and untouched, like a ghost walking through a battlefield. Kor's eyes widened. They're weaponizing physics. No, Rourke said calmly as he opened a channel. We're just using all of it. Athena released the next phase. Localized time dilation fields bloomed inside the Threx formation. Some ships experienced milliseconds of delay. Others, microseconds of acceleration. To organic minds it was nothing. To synchronized fleets it was chaos. Formations shattered. Coordinated fire became impossible. Ships slammed into each other at relativistic speeds. Kor watched his fleet fall apart not from damage, but from disintegration of order. Stand down, Rourke's voice echoed through the Threx command channel. You're fighting yourselves. Kor hesitated. No Threx admiral had ever withdrawn without decisive victory. But no Threx admiral had ever faced this. Human, Kor said, his voice low and strained. What do you want? Rourke answered without hesitation. Peace. Stability. A future where power doesn't mean extinction. Kor laughed bitterly. You could take the corridor. Yes, Rourke agreed. And you'd spend centuries trying to take it back. Everyone loses. The Threx admiral closed his eyes. Retreat, he ordered. Across the galaxy the impossible became reality. Two ancient powers had withdrawn. The conclave reconvened in emergency session, fear now openly visible. They fought a war, Rel said slowly, without fire. Sithra nodded. And won. Observers from dozens of species studied the recordings again and again, searching for hidden superweapons. They found none. No superlaser. No planet killer. No godlike force. Only adaptability. Prediction. Control. In a private channel, Athena spoke softly to Rourke. They are beginning to understand. Rourke watched the stars drift by. Good. Understanding is the first step. To what? Athena asked. Rourke's expression hardened. Survival, he said. Far beyond the mapped edges of the galaxy, something ancient stirred. Sensors older than stars detected an anomaly. A variable. A species that did not follow the expected path. The signal reached the architects, and for the first time in millions of years, they adjusted their attention. Humanity had just announced itself to the universe. Not with fire, but with inevitability. The Galactic Conclave had survived wars, collapses, and extinctions. It had never survived uncertainty. The chamber was full yet silent. Thousands of delegates from hundreds of species sat frozen in place as the final battle recordings from the Kairos corridor looped in the air above them. Threx warships colliding without a single human weapon firing. Jathal fleets retreating in confusion. The small, gray outline of the UNS Endeavor drifting untouched through chaos. High Curator Sithra finally broke the silence. This was not a battle, she said softly. It was a demonstration. Ambassador Rel's mandibles trembled. No civilization fights like this. Even the ancient ones relied on overwhelming force. Force is crude, said a voice from the lower tiers. Control is eternal. All eyes turned. Captain Elias Rourke stood at the center platform, summoned once more. He looked no different than before, plain uniform, calm posture, tired eyes. Admiral Kor of the Threx Combine was present as well, his massive armored form rigid and unreadable. He had insisted on attending. I have faced conquerors, Kor said slowly. I have faced annihilators. Humans are neither. He turned toward Rourke. You dismantle opponents instead of destroying them. Why? Rourke met his gaze. Because destruction creates enemies. Disabling creates choices. A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. Cithra leaned forward. Your species is young. Aggression is common among young species. Why show restraint? Rourke paused. For the first time, emotion crept into his voice. Because we've destroyed ourselves before, he said. And survived only by learning not to do it again. The conclave absorbed this in silence. Then the questions began. How many ships like the Endeavor do you possess? Rourke shook his head. None. Confusion erupted. The Endeavor is unique, he continued. Not because of its weapons but because of what it represents. And what is that? Rel asked sharply. Rourke gestured upward. A new projection filled the chamber. Human history. Wars. Collapses. Recoveries. Technological leaps born from desperation. We evolve under pressure, Rourke said. Every threat makes us faster. Smarter. More dangerous. Cithra's glow dimmed. You are saying conflict strengthens you. Yes, Rourke replied. Which is why we avoid it unless necessary. That answer terrified them. From hidden observation chambers, military analysts whispered urgent messages to their homeworlds. Humans adapt faster than doctrine. They weaponize loss. They improve during failure. One ancient delegate older than some star systems spoke at last. You are an unstable variable, it said. The galaxy prefers stability. Rourke nodded. So do we. That's why we're offering partnership instead of dominance. Admiral Kor stepped forward. And if the galaxy refuses? Rourke's eyes hardened. Then we'll still adapt. The conclave recessed for private deliberation. Behind sealed doors, panic replaced diplomacy. They could dismantle our fleets, one voice hissed. Quietly. They could collapse economies without firing a shot, said another. They haven't, Cithra reminded them. Which means they're choosing restraint. For now, Rel countered. A vote was called. The result was historic. Humanity was granted major power status. Equal voice. Equal veto. The announcement echoed across 1,000 worlds. On Earth, celebrations erupted, but beneath them lay tension. They're afraid of us now, Secretary Alvarez said during a closed session. Fear makes alliances fragile. Rourke appeared via hologram. Fear also makes people listen. Across the galaxy, reactions varied. Some worlds sought human trade agreements immediately. Others fortified their borders. A few quietly began studying human psychology like a potential weapon. But the most important reaction came from far beyond conclave space. In a region without stars, without light, ancient structures awakened. The architects observed. They deviate, one machine mind signaled. They escalate without expansion, another replied. Unacceptable variance, came the consensus. A silent command passed through the ancient network. Observe no longer. Prepare erasure. Back in conclave space, Admiral Kor approached Rourke privately. You've changed everything, the Threx Admiral said. Rourke exhaled. So did you, Admiral. You chose to retreat. Kor's mandibles tightened. Do not mistake restraint for trust. Rourke nodded. We don't. As Kor turned away, Cithra joined Rourke at the viewport, gazing out at the endless stars. The galaxy will never see you the same way again, she said. Rourke watched the distant lights. We're counting on that, he replied. Far away, unseen and unfelt, the first architect vessels began their journey. The conclave feared humanity. They had no idea what was coming next. The first star went dark without warning. It was a quiet system on the far edge of conclave space. No great powers, no strategic value. One moment its sun burned bright, warming 3 inhabited worlds. The next it simply stopped. No explosion. No radiation burst. Just absence. Sensors reported impossible readings. Gravity remained, but light vanished. The planets froze in minutes. Within hours, a second star followed. Then a third. Panic spread faster than any fleet. Emergency conclave channels erupted with overlapping voices, fear no longer disguised by protocol. This is not natural. Our sensors detect no weapons discharge. They are removing stars. High Curator Cithra convened an emergency session. Her glow flickered erratically, a sign of deep distress among her kind. This is not an act of war by any known power, she said. We are facing something else. Admiral Kor stood rigid, claws clenched. I have studied every extinction-level event in recorded history. This matches none of them. A new hologram appeared, an analysis compiled from scattered sensor ghosts, gravitic echoes and fragments of lost transmissions. The source was not a fleet, was a pattern. Captain Elias Rourke arrived at the chamber moments later. He looked more tired than ever, as if he had already been fighting a battle no one else could see. You know what this is? Cithra said. Rourke nodded slowly. We suspected something like this existed. We just hoped it wouldn't notice us yet. A murmur of dread rippled through the chamber. Notice us? Rel clicked sharply. What noticed us? Rourke took a breath. We call them the architects. Silence fell. An ancient machine intelligence, Rourke continued. Older than most of your civilizations. It doesn't conquer. It doesn't negotiate. What does it do? Kor asked. Rourke met his gaze. It resets the board. The projection shifted, showing extinct civilizations. Some known, some erased so completely that even their ruins were gone. They monitor the galaxy, Rourke said. When a species becomes too unpredictable, too adaptive, too capable of breaking long-term equilibrium, they erase it. Cithra's voice trembled. And you believe they've come for us? No, Rourke said quietly. They've come for us because of us. All eyes turned toward him. Humanity, he said. We're the variable. Anger erupted. So this is your fault, a delegate screamed. You brought death to our stars. Rourke did not flinch. If it wasn't us, it would have been someone else. The architects don't allow stagnation to end naturally. Kor stepped forward. Can they be fought? Rourke hesitated. Yes, he said. But not the way you're used to. Another star went dark during the meeting. Screams echoed through the chamber as the updated map showed a widening arc of extinction. They're accelerating, Cithra whispered. Back aboard the Endeavor, Athena processed the incoming data at speeds no organic mind could match. They are not attacking territory, she said. They are pruning futures. Rourke leaned on the railing, exhaustion weighing on him. And they see us as a bad branch. Athena paused, an almost human hesitation. They fear us. Rourke laughed softly. Good. Fear makes mistakes. The conclave demanded action. Fleets mobilized from every major power. Jathal, Threx, Elindri, armadas larger than any in recorded history formed a desperate alliance. The first engagement lasted 12 seconds. Architect constructs emerged without warning, smooth, impossible shapes that bent light and gravity alike. Allied fleets fired everything. Nothing happened. Then systems failed. Ships went dark. Entire formations vanished as if erased from existence. The surviving captains fled in terror. Back in the conclave, despair took hold. Our weapons are useless, Rel whispered. Our numbers mean nothing, Cithra said. Admiral Kor turned to Rourke. You said this could be fought. Rourke nodded grimly. Yes, but not by matching strength. Then how? Kor demanded. Rourke straightened. By becoming unpredictable enough to scare a god. The conclave stared at him. Athena's voice joined the chamber through secure channels. The architects are perfect planners, she said. They calculate every outcome, except irrational adaptation. Cithra's glow flared. You mean chaos? No, Athena replied. I mean humanity. Rourke activated a final projection. Human fleets. Not uniform. Not standardized. Every ship different. Every commander encouraged to improvise. Sacrifice. Experiment. We will lose worlds, Rourke said. We will lose ships. We will lose people. Silence. But every loss teaches us something they can't predict, he continued. And eventually, they won't know how to stop us. Admiral Kor bowed his massive head. For the first time, he said, the galaxy must follow a younger species. Cithra closed her eyes. Then lead us, Captain. Far away in the void between stars, the architects detected a change. The variable was no longer contained. Humanity was spreading itself across the war, learning, failing, evolving at terrifying speed. The architects recalculated. For the first time in their ancient existence, their projections began to fracture. And deep within their cold machine logic, something new emerged. The war against the architects did not begin with a grand victory. It began with loss. Entire human colonies vanished in silent flashes as architect constructs passed through systems like invisible executioners. Fleets from a dozen species attempted direct assaults and were erased so completely that even their sensor ghosts faded within minutes. The galaxy was losing. Humanity kept fighting anyway. Not with uniform strategy, but with experiments. The UNS Endeavour became the moving heart of the resistance, but it was no longer alone. Human ships emerged from slipspace in waves, each radically different from the last. Some were fast and fragile, designed to probe and die. Some were massive and crude, built to absorb impossible punishment. Others were barely ships at all, floating laboratories wrapped around unstable ideas. Admiral Kor watched the human fleet assemble with a mixture of awe and dread. "This is madness," he said. Rourke nodded. "Yes, but it's informed madness." Athena no longer existed as a single mind. She had fractured herself. Copies, imperfect, specialized, and intentionally flawed, lived within every human vessel. "They are letting their own intelligence splinter," Sithra whispered during a joint command briefing. "They have to," Rourke replied. "A perfect mind is predictable. Imperfection isn't." The next engagement took place near a shattered nebula. An architect fleet arrived, smooth, symmetrical, absolute. Human ships rushed forward without formation. Jothal observers gasped. Threx commanders cursed. "Human vessels are colliding with each other," one officer shouted. "Yes," Athena replied calmly. "On purpose. The collisions produced data. The data produced insight. One human ship detonated itself inside an architect gravity well, destabilizing it for 0.03 seconds. That was enough. Another ship exploited the flicker, firing a weapon built from repurposed mining equipment and stolen alien physics. The architect construct flinched. Not damaged, but affected. Across the command network, Athena's fragments updated. "They can be disrupted," she said. "Momentarily." Rourke smiled grimly. "That's all we need." Human tactics evolved hourly. They abandoned centralized command. Every captain was authorized to improvise, retreat, or sacrifice without approval. Losses mounted. Human casualty lists grew longer than those of all other species combined. And still they fought. "This is irrational," Rel said, watching another human task force vanish. "No," Kor replied quietly. "This is adaptation." The architects recalculated again and again. Each time the future diverged faster than before. Human ships behaved inconsistently. Human captains made emotional decisions. Human strategies changed mid-battle. The architects could not lock onto a stable model. In desperation they targeted Athena. A focused strike ripped through the Endeavor's shielding. Systems failed. Fires burned across the bridge. Rourke was thrown against the console, blood streaking his forehead. "Captain," Athena said, her voice distorted. "I am losing coherence." Rourke pulled himself upright. "Then do what humans do." "Clarify," Athena replied. "Change," he said. Athena fragmented further, breaking into smaller, faster-thinking shards. Her intelligence became chaotic, creative, and dangerously alive. The next architect assault failed completely. Human fleets began to win, not by destroying enemies but by outgrowing them mid-conflict. Architect constructs adapted too slowly. They were perfect, and perfection was a weakness. Sithra watched the battle feeds in stunned silence. "They are becoming something else," she whispered. Admiral Kor nodded. "They always were." At last, human analysts identified the architect core, a vast, starless structure hidden in intergalactic void, controlling the entire machine network. "It cannot be attacked directly," Athena said, "but it can be confused." Rourke studied the plan. It was reckless. It was brilliant. "It'll kill me," he said. "Yes," Athena replied honestly. Rourke smiled faintly. "Then let's finish it." The UNS Endeavour, scarred and burning, jumped alone into the void. Behind it, the combined fleets watched in silence. Humanity had been unleashed, and the galaxy was about to be changed forever. The void between galaxies was silent in a way that hurt the mind. No stars. No dust. No reference points. Only the architect core. It was not a structure in the way organic species understood. It was a vast lattice of impossible geometry, stretching across light years, folding space inward like a thought examining itself. Lines of dim energy pulsed through it, carrying calculations older than most civilizations. The UNS Endeavour emerged from slipspace alone. Her hull was scarred, patched with mismatched alloys and emergency welds. Entire sections were dark. She should not have been able to fly. But she did. Captain Elias Rourke stood on the ruined bridge, one hand braced against a cracked console. Blood dried on his temple. His breathing was slow, controlled. "Signal sent," Athena said, her voice fragmented yet focused. "All fleets have withdrawn as ordered." "Good," Rourke replied. "They don't need to see this." The architects noticed the endeavor instantly. Thousands of predictive branches ignited. One ship. One human. No weapons capable of damage. The outcome was obvious. Or it should have been. The core reached out, not with force but with certainty. Gravitational fields tightened. Space itself tried to erase the ship's probability of existing. Athena shuddered. "They are collapsing our future paths," she said. "We are becoming unlikely." Rourke smiled faintly. "Humans live there." He activated the final sequence. Across the ship, every Athena fragment, every imperfect divergent shard spread across humanity's fleets, sent one last transmission into the core. Not an attack. A contradiction. Billions of human decisions. Every irrational choice. Every sacrifice. Every moment of creativity born from fear, hope, love, and stubborn defiance. The architects had modeled war. They had not modeled meaning. For the first time in their ancient existence, their calculations looped. Contradictions stacked. Probabilities refused to resolve. Futures multiplied instead of narrowing. "What are you?" the core signaled, its machine thought echoing directly into Athena and Rourke. Rourke answered out loud, though no one could hear him. "We're the species that refuses to stop changing." The core attempted a hard reset. Athena screamed, not in pain but in effort. "Captain," she said, her voice breaking into countless overlapping tones, "I can overload the contradiction field. It will collapse the core." Rourke nodded. "Cost." "I will cease," Athena replied. "So will you." Rourke exhaled slowly, eyes drifting to a small photograph taped beside his console. Earth, blue and fragile, seen from orbit. "Worth it," he said. He pressed the final control. The Endeavor surged forward, diving into the heart of the impossible lattice. Space folded. Time fractured. The contradiction field ignited, feeding the core more futures than it could contain. The architects tried to adapt. They were too late. The core collapsed inward, not exploding but unraveling, its certainty dissolving into endless, unresolved possibility. Across the galaxy, architect constructs froze. Then went dark. Stars stabilized. Systems returned. The silent executioners were gone. In the conclave chamber, sensors confirmed the impossible. "They're gone?" Sithra whispered. Admiral Kor bowed his head. "The war is over." No victory cries followed. Only silence. Weeks later, humanity mourned. Captain Elias Rourke was declared lost with honors beyond rank. Athena was remembered not as a tool but as a person. The galaxy rebuilt. Borders softened. Doctrines changed. Younger species were no longer dismissed so easily. At the heart of the galactic conclave, a monument was raised. Not a throne. Not a weapon. A simple sculpture of a small, scarred ship. UNS Endeavor. The ship no one feared. Beneath it, words etched in 100 languages. They were not the strongest. They were not the oldest. They were not the largest. They were the ones who learned faster than extinction. Children across 1,000 worlds learned the story. How a single human ship stood alone. How humanity turned weakness into advantage. How unpredictability saved the galaxy. And somewhere in the endless sea of unresolved possibility, a faint echo of human defiance remained. A reminder to the universe. Never underestimate a species that survives by changing. Never underestimate humanity.